It's a massive global migration, millions on the move. The largest refugee crisis since the Second World War, sparking a fierce debate in Western countries over whether to open the floodgates or shut the door.
This issue is clearly the biggest challenge facing countries across Europe today.
Bringing refugees to the United States, even a small number of them, is extraordinarily expensive.
But is it really? How much does welcoming a refugee or an immigrant actually cost? Meet the Mohammeds, Abao, his wife Firozeh, and their children Hamza and Khalud, Syrian refugees who just arrived in Canada. The Mohammeds are a fictional family, of course. Hey guys, but in many ways they represent your average refugees. And when they first arrive in a new country, they need help. Refugees to Canada receive government or private funding for 1 year before they have to fend for themselves, though history suggests they'll likely continue to rely on social assistance programs for at least a few more years. Abao and Firozeh are university-educated professionals, but their credentials aren't recognized here, so they'll likely find low-skill, low-paying jobs within their first 5 years. Their children, however, will have a brighter future, performing the same or even better than their Canadian peers.
We bring in the educated middle class of the wider world through both immigration and refugee systems, and then we waste all that education and skills. It's their children who thrive in the Canadian economy.
But that raises another politically charged question. Is the Mohammed family taking jobs at the expense of other Canadians?
With immigration, you better be smart and you better be tough, and they're taking your jobs and you better be careful.
That is really a very simplistic and I would say even wrong way economically of looking at what happens.
Economist Jennifer Hunt has spent her career examining how immigrants and refugees integrate into the job market. She recently examined 4 examples of mass refugee movements over the past 50 years. She found a small short-term rise in unemployment among some low-skilled native workers, but the impact overall was overwhelmingly positive.
The arrival of immigrants is helpful to the receiving economy as a whole, including actually those born in that country.
Hunt found that those immigrants and refugees helped to grow their new country's economies. And not only did the native-born workers not lose their jobs, their wages actually rose.
Immigrants and refugees overwhelmingly are creators of employment. They're people who start businesses.
In the United States, the average refugee becomes a net contributor to the public purse after just 8 years. Even in Germany, which recently received more than 1 million refugees, the IMF predicts the influx, if managed properly, will help to grow the German economy by 1% by the year 2020.
The economic story is pretty consistent about this can be a positive impact. The challenge, though, for policymakers is how do you get the right public policy settings to enable this impact to be positive?
Economists say government programs such as language and job training are critical for successful integration. The Canadian government has committed to increasing its immigration levels to 340,000 per year by 2020. Some economists argue it needs to be even higher.
So that we can get over the difficult periods ahead when our aging population means that our governments have no revenue, when our governments have to spend the lion's share of their revenues on elder care and health care.
And while the workforce is aging, the birth rate is falling. Without immigration, Statistics Canada predicts population growth in 20 years will be almost zero, meaning the Canadian economy may need the Mohammeds, their children and grandchildren, to become Canadian workers and taxpayers.